be here to take us on a thrilling adventure. We will once again do what we love, take to our sunny beaches to revitalize, and we will once again go back to having unforgettable safaris. Without a doubt, we will be back to creating memories together over good food and company, hanging out with friends as we cheer on our favorite teams, and taking a break from the everyday hustle at the park or even with just a good night out. Together, we will overcome this moment, and we will be back to doing all the things we love doing most. Magical Kenya. The magic awaits.
Cessation of movement in Eastleigh, Nairobi County and Old Town, Mombasa County as COVID-19 cases in the country rise to 582. This is after 47 new cases were confirmed in the last 24 hours. Good evening. Welcome to Channel 1 News Hour. For now, let's take a look at the highlights.
Shall be cessation of movement in and out of Eastleigh area of Nairobi with effect from today, the 6th of May 2020 at 7 p.m. for the next 15 days. There shall be cessation of movement in the area known as Old Town in Mombasa with effect from today, the 6th of May at 7 p.m. for the next 15 days.
Government tightens anti-COVID-19 measures as positive cases surge to 582. Devastation across the country as floods continue to wreak havoc across the country. Concern over the fate of those evicted from KARIOBANGI'S sewage estate in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. Good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Lensa Odingo. Now, to kick us off, the government has put 2 estates where coronavirus cases have spiked under lockdown. Effective Wednesday night, there will be no movement in and out of Eastleigh Estate in Nairobi and Old Town in Mombasa for the next 2 weeks, as the 2 localities have become epicenters of community spread. Besides this ban in movement, markets and eateries in the 2 estates will remain closed. The directive was issued as the country recorded 47 new cases in 24 hours, stretching the infections tally to 582 amid revelations that 2 more people succumbed to the deadly contagion.
Effective 7 p.m. Wednesday, there will be no movement in and out of the bustling Eastleigh area of Nairobi.
Shall be cessation of movement in and out of Eastleigh area of Nairobi with effect from today, the 6th of May 2020 at 7 p.m. for the next 15 days. There will be closure of any markets, any restaurants and eateries within those 2 areas.
A similar course of action has been instituted over Old Town in Mombasa.
hii cessation of movement sio punishment, sio adhabu, lakini ni mojawapo tu ya zile jitihada za kuhakikisha kwamba corona haiwezi kusambaa. Na tunaomba sana kwa watu watulivu, hata wakielezwa wasitoke pale ndani, wao wenye watulivu na wenye subira.
The state delivering the order after the two estates were mapped out as coronavirus hotspots whose residents' movement needed to be restricted in a bid to contain a serious spread of the disease.
Measures are not intended to punish anybody in those affected areas. Rather, these measures are supposed to protect those in those areas who may get the disease from movement of persons.
In the latest figures announced by the Ministry of Health, Old Town recorded 18 new cases, bringing the total in the locality to 57, against Eastleigh, which recorded 5 new cases, bringing the total to 68. The directive extended to other Kenyans by Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe, who has cautioned against accommodating people from the two estates.
If you have a colleague who is in Eastleigh, lives Eastleigh as we are speaking, to come and stay with you, you would be an extremely foolish person to accept that that person comes and stays with you and they have not taken a test.
The country now has a total of 582 cases distributed in Mombasa, which has 32 new cases, with 25 hailing from Mvita, Likoni 3, while Changamwe and Kisauni have 2 new cases each. Nairobi has 11 new cases, with 5 hailing from Eastleigh, 2 from Kasarani, with Kibera, Umoja, Dandora and Karen recording 1 new case each. Busia has 2 cases, with Kiambu and Kwale recording 1 case each.
8 persons have been discharged, which brings the number of discharged persons to 190. That we have lost an additional 2 persons from coronavirus disease in Mombasa, bringing this number to the number of deceased persons to 26. Both of them, aged 68 and 72 respectively, actually passed away at home.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health now says that testing and quarantine fees will be met by the government to encourage more Kenyans to come out for screening.
This is to facilitate those who may feel that they do not want to go for testing because of the cost of quarantine.
With the government announcing further measures aimed at stemming the spread of COVID-19, especially in the counties of Nairobi and Mombasa, it is further calling on citizens to be extra vigilant and report any suspicious movements in those hotspot areas. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Counties have sustained efforts aimed at curbing the spread of coronavirus in the country. The county government of Kilifi, for instance, has unveiled a multi-million state-of-the-art health complex to handle COVID-19 cases amid a spike in infections in the region. The county joins a number of other devolved units that have established ultra-modern facilities fully equipped with beds and ventilators. Beatrice Getonyeng-Etich brings us these details.
Kilifi became the latest county to unveil a health complex exclusively to help prevention of COVID-19 cases. The new ultra-modern facility has been fitted with 150 beds together with 6 ICU beds, fully fixed with ventilators. Area Governor Amason Kingi also unveiled COVID-19 doctors' residence that can accommodate 14 medical personnel who are in the front line dealing with the pandemic.
Kwa hivyo tusiende kule tukasema kwamba sasa kama Kilifi kio ni hospitali tuko nayo, kama ni vifaa tuko navyo. Kwa hivyo sasa mimi sijali tena, nikipata corona niko complex. This is not a 5-star hotel. This is a hospital. Na kama tujuavyo, hospitali kuna mawili. Kuna kuingia na kutoka umepona. Na kuna kuingia na kutoka uko ndani ya jeneza.
This coming as governors poured cold water to calls to have health function reverted back to the national government. Led by Council of Governors Chairman Wycliffe Oparanya, the county chiefs insist that devolved units have successfully managed the sector in the best interest of all Kenyans. They further called for the establishment of international border protocols to control movement of persons from one region to another to curb spread of the coronavirus.
We need a COVID-19 protocol when dealing with the neighboring countries, and we are waiting for this.
Any attempt to take back healthcare to the national government will be basically finishing Kenya. We'll go back to 1960s. It will be a tragedy. Na naomba wananchi wote katika nchi yetu ya Kenya tupinge ufisadi na tupinge ukora wa kusema mambo irudi pale center.
In the meantime, Maendeleo ya Wanawake organization has rallied women across the country to engage elected leaders and develop programs aimed at sensitizing respective communities on guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. The organization's chairperson, Rehab Muiu, says women must play a proactive role in efforts aimed at containing the spread of coronavirus pandemic.
Maendeleo leaders and other women in the wards, in the sub-counties, like you have always said, to be in the forefront in observing the social distancing, the washing of hands, which is extremely effective with soap and running water, wearing the mask like we all look, and only go out when it is necessary.
And Sona Angel's factory, with over 3,000 employees in Ruiru, has been closed indefinitely for allegedly breaching government directives in the fight against COVID-19. The COVID-19 response team, led by the Deputy County Commissioner Geoffrey Githinji, observed that the factory's employees did not observe social distance, as well as failure to install hand-washing points or sanitizers dispensers in the premises.
The company operations be stopped there and then immediately. No operations in that company. And I want to repeat again, we are not punishing the company. We want to work with them through this journey.
In Kirinyaga, Area Governor Anne Mumbi Waigoro says a multi-million health center project in Mwea constituency, which had stalled for 7 years, will be revived. According to the governor, the health center has been allocated 8 million shillings and is set to be completed in the next 1.5 months in order to boost the war on coronavirus.
Across the county, there are quite a number, there are like 6 or 7 that need to be finished, and therefore be able to provide primary health care so that people can get the primary health care, and we ease off the number of people who are going to Kerugoya out to the level 3 in Kimbimbi, because in case of anything, we would like those hospitals left for the critical patients.
Finally, Kiambu Governor Dr. James Karanja Nyoro has called on leaders to stop politicizing the war on COVID-19, saying doing this will derail gains so far made by the state. The governor, who was speaking when he presided over the swearing-in of County Executive Committee member in charge of youth, sports and gender affairs, noted that if the war against COVID-19 pandemic must succeed, then leaders will have no option but pull in the same direction.
I would really want to urge our politicians to stop politicizing the aspect of food distribution, which we are going to roll out very, very, very effective. We have devoted adequate resources, and we are very, very clear in our mind that we are separating the resources that we have devoted from the resources that is coming from the well-wishers in the county.
Beatrice Getonyeng-Etich, Channel 1 News.
On that note, Channel 1 News Hour takes a short break. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Next on.
Ini ya nani? Kenda. Now let me give you some free advice. Never take a career in drawing.
Swaka, umeona nani ametupa makatasi huku?
Sinio class ya kina Kenda. And then again, HM, you see, there is something about learning Africa, not drawing Africa.
That's very true. Even Pastor here doesn't know how to draw. If we look at his Africa, it looks like a chicken that is missing one wing. But that doesn't mean that he gets punished because he doesn't know how to draw.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
I know what you are driving at.
What am I driving at? When I have a vehicle here, do you see me driving anything?
See, last time that Psylocke wanted to chop off that elongated neck of it. Maybe he succeeded. I bet you'd like that.
4 criminal kids. All they do all day is set traps for me. All day, wakikimbia kwa nyumba, making some crazy noises. Sijui singing, bamba bamba ticket. I'm so crazy.
Police hide. There's a group of people coming, carrying rungus, jembes, bangas, and chupas. They've just broken into Sakulgate, coming this way, shouting your name, Mango. Maalim, policeman.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Welcome back. Now let's continue with our coverage where the adverse effects of the ongoing rains continue to be felt across the country, with some families now left homeless after flood waters sweep through their homes. In Kirinyaga, 15 families spent the night in the cold after water from River Tana, which burst its banks, flooding their homes, a predicament that could be a reality for hundreds of residents in Laikipia, with waters of Gatirima Dam now overflowing.
Flooding and mudslides occasioned by ongoing heavy rains are yet another headache for the government and Kenyans alike across the country, with more and more families now displaced from their homes. This is Mjini area of Kirinyaga County. Here, families spent the night in the cold after River Tana burst its banks. Residents say the waters have also destroyed their farmlands, making it that much more difficult to fend for their families.
Tungeomba serikali ya Kirinyaga County, serikali ya Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, tunaomba serikali itusaidie wakati kama huu. Tunasikia kuna janga ya corona, lakini bado hata kama corona hiko na kuna mashida ingine, tunaangalia bado kwa tumbo hatuna hata chakula ya kula.
In Laikipia, danger looms for hundreds of residents living downstream Gatirima Dam after the dam broke its banks and water started spilling over its walls last evening. This was occasioned by heavy rains being experienced in the area that has also led to Kanyuka and Getwamba dams to overflow, filling the Gatirima Dam, threatening the lives of people living downstream.
Sasa hizi hii dam nimepitia masaa mengine, kulikuwa maji ilikuwa afadhali kidogo, lakini kwa sasa hizi imekuwa wasi zaidi, na kwa sababu ya dam ya Kanyuka na Gatirima imepasuka. Sasa kwa hivyo hata hii demu hii nyingine tayari imeharibika na hakuna kupitika kasa hizi. Kwa hivyo jambo ambalo barabara ilitengenezwa juzi, tukaambia kwamba itakuwa mzuri zaidi hapo hivi, lakini imekuwa wazi zaidi kwa sababu ilisemekana kwamba itainuliwa juu, lakini haijainuliwa.
A team of officers from the Water Services Regulatory Board and their counterpart from Water Resource Management Authority visited the dam for a fact-finding mission and also to look into how the situation could be urgently addressed. In Busia, Governor Sospita Ojamong has called for intervention by the national government and donor communities to finding a lasting solution to flood problems in Budalangi constituency.
Tungezungumza na MCS pia, tunaenda kuevacuate watu. Sababu kuna wale ambao wamebaki kule hawezi toka, hawezi wakatembea, lazima tupeleke kule maboats.
Also, the Central Rift Valley Water Works Development Agency has expressed concern over the destruction of water systems in parts of the country by floods. According to the agency CEO, Engineer Hosea Windot, apart from flooding homes and farms, the rains have caused damages to water pipes in various counties. He said the agency was keenly monitoring the situation and has embarked on the process of assisting persons affected by the floods through the provision of water tanks.
I received this morning is a Turasha line, which is serving Gilgil town. The river, Turasha River, swept some of our pipes, which is being managed by Narowasco. So we know that's an issue, but we are going to address it. In terms of other systems, I think we've been lucky. We've been lucky as a region. We have not had serious effect on the main water systems. But yes, there are areas that we have small issues to do with water supply, but we are addressing.
Finally, the Kenya Forest Service has planted 5,000 trees at the historic Tulop Kipsigis Londiani, Kericho County as part of the efforts to reclaim the country's forest cover and ease the adverse effects of global warming.
We have been protecting it from poachers, and today we want to extend this canopy downward and ensure that in the future we will be proud to have a well-conserved hill for purposes of cultural activities in the site.
Now moving on, at least 30 people have lost their lives over the last 48 hours due to ongoing rains pounding most parts of the country. The latest statistics bring to 194 the number of fatalities caused by ongoing floods that continue to wreak havoc, with the latest advisory by the weatherman warning of sustained rains over the next few days. As at least 23 counties in the country continue to grapple with heavy downpour, Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa says over 190 people have lost their lives as floods continue to cause death, destruction and displacement.
Sasa wale wamepoteza maisha ni Wakenya 194. 194 lives have been lost sababu ya mafuriko haya.
Wamalwa saying the government has intensified efforts to mitigate the adverse effects of floods, urging individuals living in flood-prone areas to relocate to safer grounds.
Savoido Masinga, as per this morning, we've reached historical figure of 1057.86 above the sea level. Maximum reservoir is 1056.5, so you can see it's above.
Sikiza maelekezo umepewa na serikali kuu, serikali za county, ma-county commissioners wetu na wataalam uweze kuhamia sehemu zilizo salama.
These, as Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i said, relocation of people living in flood-prone areas is underway as heavy downpour continue to pose imminent danger across the country.
We are not waiting for people to be swept downstream. We are moving some people using public resources, moving some people away from danger. And that level of alert will remain raised for the next week or two until we are satisfied that we are away from danger.
Water, Irrigation and Sanitation Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki, however, says some regions in the country are experiencing a water shortage despite the ongoing rains pounding most of the country.
In the last 5 days, we have seen water scarcity, particularly into Nairobi via Ngedo. That is where we transmit water coming into particularly Nairobi City. We have had similar effects in Nyeri. Water shortages in Nyeri town. We have similar shortages reported in Kisumu, but also in Nakuru, because the infrastructure to deliver water has also been washed away.
Kariuki saying the floods menace has destroyed about 8,000 acres of rice in Nyando. Information, Communication and Technology Cabinet Secretary Joe Mushero says the government has already commenced disbursement of funds to families affected by the calamities across the country through the cash transfer program.
They use at the moment, they are given mosquito nets, they're given food and many other things. But if we give them cash, then they have more of an opportunity to decide for themselves how much they want to spend on what.
Busia County is staring at a grim economic outlook in the wake of floods that have devastated almost every sector of the economy in the region. Deputy Governor Moses Mulomi says agriculture, education and infrastructure remain the most hit as the county comes to terms with arguably the worst floods to ever hit the region. Simon Achola brings us the report.
River Nzoia roars violently as the increased volumes of water sweeps everything on its path to the lowlands in Mdalangi. In its wake, bridges, roads, plantations and even human beings have all been reduced to victims.
Unajua tumepoteza watu, nafikiri ile ripoti tulipata ya kwanza walikuwa watu wawili ambao walikuwa wamefariki kulingana na maji kuja upesi. Tumeshukuru vijana wa sehemu hii, wale ambao wako na boats wametumia muda mrefu, na hao viongozi wamechukua time yao na rasilimali kuhakikisha boats zinazunguka zikichukua watu.
It is, however, in Mdalangi that the true scale of its destructive nature has come to the fore. Busia Deputy Governor Moses Mulomi estimating that billions of shillings have been lost.
Kiasi kikubwa sana. Mabarabara zetu zote tangu mvua ianze zimeharibika kiasi. Tulikuwa tumeanza kuzitengeneza, lakini kwa upande huu ambao umefunikwa na maji ni vigumu saa hii. Mahospitali yetu karibu 4 saa hii ziko chini ya maji, haziwezi kuhudumia yoyote na zitataka pengine kujengwa tena na kukarabatiwa wakati tutarudi. Kwa hivyo mashule kwa hizo sehemu ambazo ni za chini karibu zote zitahitaji usaidizi mkubwa.
Virtually all schools in the area have been submerged in water, rice fields destroyed, as well as the newly installed rice processing machines.
Ikiwa ni mchele ambayo ilikuwa iko kwa kiwango tofauti na mingi yake ilikuwa inakaribia kuvunwa. Hiyo yote ni hasara. That is more than 200, nearly 200 or so million shillings worth of damage. Kwa hivyo saa hii watu wetu wa emergency wanaendelea kuassess. Tutaweza kutoa ripoti kamilifu baadaye kuonyesha ni kiasi gani ya maharibifu ambayo tumepata.
The fury of the floods also directed at the newly constructed bridges on the feeder roads that have now been submerged, leaving earlier efforts to open up the region futile. It is estimated that over 40,000 households have been affected by the raging floods in Mdalangi constituency. Achola Simon, reporting for Channel 1 News from Busia County.
Well, thank you so much, Achola Simon, for that report. Now, on matters related to COVID-19, Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs Cabinet Secretary Professor Margaret Kobia has raised concern over increased cases of gender-based violence in the wake of coronavirus outbreak. Kobia says women remain vulnerable to exploitation in times of crisis, adding that there remains a need to focus on the unique challenges in responding to COVID-19 pandemic.
Speaking during a webinar organized by Eco Network Africa to discuss the importance of implementing the recommendations of the Common Women's Agenda, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs Cabinet Secretary Professor Margaret Kobia pointed out that cases of gender-based violence are on the rise in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak.
We have seen an increased domestic violence, both physical, emotional, and we have seen it is affecting both genders. About 90% of the women are reporting the violence, and about 10% of the men.
Kobia saying there is need to come up with responsive community strategies to break the worrying cycle of violence. Kobia, however, says the COVID-19 pandemic is presenting an opportunity to reflect and safeguard gains made in protecting the rights of women.
All the women movement, all the women organization, the ministry, the public, the private sector need to come together and find all the gains that we have made. May it be in women leadership and decision making, women in economic empowerment, peace and security. There are some gains that they are not eroded.
While citing the example of the Kitui County Textile Center spearheaded by Governor Charity Ngilu, which has provided employment opportunities for a majority of women, calls were also made to support women through financial empowerment and awareness on technological advancements.
Kikotech today employs about 500 young people, not to mention about their families, and 80% of these are young women. who are now making a living out of this, out of what we do every day.
As more and more of the economy moves onto a completely digital platform, we have some businesses refusing to take cash as payment, seeing it as a vector of disease. And so more and more of the economy is becoming completely digital. We have to be so careful globally that women are not left behind.
And we will also, Atena will begin dialoguing with the media, the local media, so that the women in local areas can also receive this, as well as participating and engaging people like Governor Gilo.
Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju using the platform to challenge women not to leave men behind in efforts to achieve gender parity.
We must bring more men on board so that anytime you think of dealing with gender issues, you're not only thinking of so and so and so and so. More men have to be brought in. They have to be educated.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Now, Parliament has directed the Budget and Appropriations Committee to review the 2020-2021 budget estimates with a view of allocating more funds towards fighting COVID-19. At the same time, legislators have called for thorough review of the police service to reduce what they say are bad elements within the service who have been blamed for the loss of lives during the implementation of guidelines issued by the government to control the spread of COVID-19.
At least 6 people have been recorded as having died from injuries allegedly inflicted by police through use of excessive force during the dusk to dawn curfew imposed by the government on March 27th to contain the spread of COVID-19.
To the executive, to this ministry, that they have no rights to molest Kenyans. They have the rights to maintain law and order, but maintain it with decorum. They cannot just bully people, beat people left, right, and center, kill innocent people. Someone who leaves the house to take a wife to the hostel, you come back and you are killed. I mean, how do you justify in a civilized country?
You sit in a National Security Council. You must tell your police officers who are roguey, who want to make a kill out of this pandemic, to stop what they are doing. It is very shameful for the president to apologize on behalf of the police. How can the President of the Republic of Kenya, Commander-in-Chief, is apologizing on behalf of the police?
Every Kenyan knows that the police brutality in this country is at its highest peak. Mr. Speaker, it is very annoying when you see a policeman stop you in your car and ask you why you are not wearing a mask.
This time, let us not hide under just investigation and give the way forward in terms of timelines. How long will it take to actually take action on the said officer or officers?
We must not be seen to be condemning the entire police service members, because there are over 100,000 members of the police force. Their criminal responsibility is individual. There are members within the service who are bad. There are other members who are doing exceptionally good job. And therefore, what we need to ask both the IG and the Independent Police Oversight Authority is to weed out the bad elements within the police service.
The National Assembly now calling upon the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai, to put his house in order, claiming increased police brutality is stalling the war against COVID-19. Leader of Majority Aden Duale proposing that police receive COVID-19 allowances just like medics to reduce cases of police permitting persons to cross restricted borders.
People are moving everywhere. They are bribing. And the Speaker, I want to say it here. The police, the men and women who are manning these roadblocks of secession must be given an allowance. What they are given is only tea and bread. Now you give them tea and bread, and somebody comes with 10,000, he'll allow him. These police officers must be given special allowances, just like our health workers who are in the front line.
The House also directed the Budget and Appropriations Committee to review 2020-2021 budgets with the aim of allocating more funds to COVID-19 kitting.
To supplement COVID-19 fund and other measures put in place, the Budget and Appropriation Committee reviewed the proposed annual estimates for the financial year 2020-2021 with a view to allocating funds towards cushioning the country further from the short-term and long-term effects of COVID-19.
Parliament also wants the government to come up with ways of cushioning Kenyans from harsh realities of COVID-19, such as dealing with hunger and financial distress.
Whereas I would start by appreciating the work of the executive, the work of the ministry, the work of the president in trying to manage this pandemic. But, Mr. Speaker, we must also tell the government in no uncertain terms that their reaction and response has been wanting in a number of ways.
House, we have constitutional responsibility also to oversight the government. And the government has failed in many ways, Mr. Speaker, that Kenyans didn't expect, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the fight of this pandemic of coronavirus must have a human face, Mr. Speaker. It can't be the government has not suspended the Constitution, neither has Parliament done, Mr. Speaker.
On Thursday, Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha is expected to appear before the Education Committee to shed light on the government immediate interventions on majority of learners who cannot access digital learning, as well as the fate of parents who paid school fees in private and public institutions which were not utilized when schools closed prematurely. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Now, away from Parliament buildings, the coronavirus pandemic has presented a unique challenge, forcing the globe to adopt to the new normal, an obtaining situation that has witnessed increased pressure, especially among caregivers. And while stress management is an important skill for parents, it is especially important for caregivers taking care of children with disability. But how can these caregivers ease associated stress?
How do you ease your stress as a caregiver when you know about that your child is vulnerable due to the disability? One, you have to take care of yourself as a parent. You need to communicate with other, most of the parents who have children with disabilities have family support groups. You're able to communicate and share with other parents who are taking this journey with you. It's important to communicate with your doctor if you're feeling stressed out, just because children can sense the stress in you and your emotional cues, and that can even exacerbate or make worse their behaviors. And then the other thing is to reassure your children. They are hearing about this word COVID-19. Even though they have a disability, they will have worries and fears, and it's important to acknowledge that and say that I'm here for you and our doctor will help us through this process. And the other thing is that if you're feeling that you're very anxious, if you're feeling like mentally something is wrong, it's important to seek help. We have counselors that you can call, and you can arrange that even through your doctor. So do not feel like you're alone taking care of this, taking care of your child during this pandemic.
Now let's shift gears, where human rights crusaders have raised concern over the manner in which the KARIOBANGI'S sewage estate evictions were conducted. The demolitions kicked off early Sunday morning, despite what the victims say was the presence of a court order barring the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company from effecting the planned evictions.
This is what is left of the KARIOBANGI'S sewage estate after the houses that once stood at the contentious piece of land were brought down by the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company in what is said was progressive repossession of public utility land set aside for the establishment of the KARIOBANGI'S sewage treatment plant from unlawful and illegal occupants. We arrive at the demolition site to find Lillian Arani preparing tea in the open field that was once home to over 5,000 families. Their houses have now been reduced to mere rubble, timber and corrugated iron sheets.
Mahali pa kwenda huna, pesa ya kwenda kukomboa nyumba huna, haujapatiwa notice wewe kama mpangaji.
The mother of four is now exposed to the chilling cold in the night, coupled with coronavirus pandemic.
Wangeonea tu watu huruma, kwanza watu wajikinge, hesabu ya corona isiongezeke.
Her account and that of her fellow evictees of how they acquired the land in 1986 and the subsequent tribulations as descriptive as is distressing.
Lakini shamba hii sehemu kutoka 1996
wamama ambao wanafanya katika kazi katika city council waliomba, walikuwa wanalela watoto wao.
Tuko na barua ya kanjo, tuko na title na tuko na deed. Na tuko na minute ya kanjo. Na muda hiyo hatuko hapa kibakosa. Na tena shamba yetu haisikani na water.
The extent of their tribulations well told by the fate of a mother who delivered her baby on Monday night.
Jana saa 11:30 ninaingia hapa. Ilikuta mama iko mimba, mtoto anashika yeye.
Kuna kadhaa kama 10 hivi. Haya, pia tuna wagonjwa wetu huku ndani wa active HIV positive na wengine wa cancer. Sasa tumekuwa tukiwaangalia, tumekuwa tukishughulikia nao, tutawapata chakula ya kukula.
The unfortunate incident happening when movement from the city to other parts of the country remained restricted until a 21-day cessation period ends.
Amino amejaribu kueleza, alienda hata injunction ilikuwa imetolewa na court na Odunga, akasema wapewe wa restrain watu wakae kidogo, but court order it was violated.
The demolitions were conducted by the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company in an exercise that it says will pave way for the full implementation of the sewerage improvement project as outlined in the Nairobi Integrated Urban Development Master Plan.
Notice tugepewa hata miezi 2 hizi vitu ni mingi sana. Watu 8,700 na watoto yao
wanalala hapa. Unaona sasa unaona mama iko na mizigo. Watu wanalala hapa.
Well, they're now left telling stories of sorrow, anguish, pain and regret due to the injustice that has befallen them, calling on the government to heed to their cries and come to their help, especially during this time of the coronavirus pandemic. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robi.
Now, away from that, police have launched investigations into the mysterious murder of a boda operator in Ruiru, Kiambu County on Tuesday. The middle-aged man's body was discovered Wednesday morning amid revelations that he had been called by a client before his disappearance. Details of these and other highlights in the County News Roundup.
Ruiru, Wednesday morning. Residents gather in groups conversing in low tones. Others overcome by emotions, bursting into tears as they could not hold their agony. A boda operator went missing Tuesday night only for his lifeless body to be discovered hours later. He had been murdered and his motorcycle stolen. Eyewitness accounts indicate that the deceased Matthew Ndegwa received a call from a client on Tuesday just before the curfew hours kicked in. Sadly, that will be the last time he was seen alive.
Haitosheki hapa Katongora, inatudai kwa barabara, tukienda kwa manyumba, wale wengine wanakuja kuliwa hapa.
Ile kafyu tunaambia iko hapa. Huyu aliuawa, wale watu wa kafyu walikuwa wapi? Askari wa kafyu walikuwa wapi wakati aliuawa? Tuna askari hapa wa kafyu. Wako wapi sasa wakati huyu aliuawa wakiwa wapi?
Meanwhile, residents of Nyeri have raised an alarm over the piling of uncollected garbage and clogged drainage system across most parts of the county. The problem seems to have escalated in recent times following the closure of the main dumping site following a standoff between the county government of Nyeri and constituency leadership. They're now calling on the county government to speed up the cleanup exercise of the areas affected, as well as close open sewer lines to avert a possible health crisis.
Madudu yote yanatoka hapa, kwa hiyo uchafu yanatuingilia kwa nyumba, maumbu, uchafu zote kama vile mnavyoona. Haya, hii mitaro, angalia ni mitaro hii ya kupitisha maji, lakini yote imejaa takataka. Hakuna mtu anakuja kutoa huku kote, angalia. Sasa hata hiyo majanga tunaambiwa mavirus, hata sijui tutajiepushaje. Kwa maana hata pengine hiyo corona iko kwa hii takataka. Unaona? Saa county yenyewe hakuna kitu inatufanyia.
Elsewhere, Nyandarua Governor Francis Kimeme has put on notice public officers who failed to deliver on their respective mandates, saying his administration will not hesitate to terminate their services. Speaking during the swearing-in of 15 new chief officers, Kimeme said that his administration will not tolerate those engaging in corrupt practices.
So do not demand any monies from the wananchi. Serve wananchi bila kudemand any funds. Be humble, be loyal, be dedicated to and passionate to achieving the agenda of the county. Serve our people without hesitation. This is a very, very difficult time for our people.
Finally, land buyers in Kajiado County are decrying increased number of unscrupulous land sellers who continue to defraud unsuspecting land buyers. Their concerns coming amid increased cases of land sellers seeking to repossess their land with claims of being shortchanged to sell their lands at cheaper prices.
2016, 2017 walienda kwa tribunal, lakini unajua tribunal haina mamlaka ya kusema hii shamba ni ya nani, hii ni ya nani. Lakini kwa sababu tulikuwa na kikao, ile kikao ya Kimasai, wazee wakaniomba, kwa sababu ni watu sasa hawana mahali waliko, niwapatie tu kwa radhi yangu. Sio kwa sababu ati nilinunua shamba kwa ubaya, niwapatie shamba kidogo.
Kajiado County Executive in charge of land Hamilton Pasania says such cases of land fraud have become common in Kajiado County. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Now let's talk business, where truck drivers on transit will have to be tested for COVID-19 48 hours before proceeding with their journey between Kenya and neighboring countries. Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia says only drivers with COVID-19 certificate issued by the government will be allowed in and out of the county and access to ports. Now this comes as Kenya Ports Authority furloughed 2,000 workers in an attempt to slow the spread of coronavirus.
Last month, 23 workers at the port of Mombasa had tested positive from the deadly virus, making the port a COVID-19 hotspot. At any given time, the port has more than 6,000 workers loading and offloading an average of 10 ships per day.
What we decided now and given directives is that only the core business, only the core functions will remain at the port of Mombasa. And this is loading of cargo from the ships, and also loading cargo onto the ships for exports. And so the number of employees at the port of Mombasa has been reduced from 6,200 to 4,000.
And due to the high concentration of workers within a radius of less than 10 kilometers, the rate of infection has also spiked.
We had insisted that anybody above 58 years had to stay home, even if he or she was in a core mandate, core function. And then secondly, we have insisted the other hygiene issues had to be followed very diligently. Washing of hands, sanitizers, non-use of lifts, all those other interventions still continue.
Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia has said truckers accessing the port and the inland container depot facility will be required to have a COVID-19 free certificate issued by the government.
We want to limit to only the core functions. So output of the core functions will not go down, because the core functions is about operations of the port. Cargo coming in, all the ships are offloaded, and all the ships going are loaded with cargo. That output will not change. In fact, we'd like it to go up.
The CS says the reduction in workforce will not affect ship loaders and offloaders in a bid to minimize cargo disruptions at the facility. O'Brien came in for Channel 1 Business.
A decline in property investment has seen UAP Holdings record a full-year loss before tax of 3.2 billion shillings in 2019 compared to a loss before tax of 480 million shillings in 2018. Group Chief Executive Arthur Oginga says the decline to one-off fair value write-downs on the group's investment property portfolio was due to softening of markets in Kenya and Uganda, including prevailing operating environment challenges in South Sudan.
UAP Holdings PLC, the investment, retirement and insurance group that operates mainly in Eastern Africa, last year in mid-November issued a profit warning citing depressed property prices and a tough environment in South Sudan, signaling the second consecutive year in loss territory. Even before the damage being experienced due to the depressed earnings, the company's board said that the performance for the financial year ended December 2019 was set to drop by at least 25%. However, the group CEO is rallying behind numbers of a diversified business.
On the face of it, disappointing, but it really is a story of two parts. The first part of the story is our core businesses, and our core businesses reported a profit before tax of 1.7 billion compared to 800 million profit before tax in 2018.
UAP's general insurance business also reported a profit before tax of 2.3 billion shillings, representing a 133% rise over 2018, while the life insurance business reported a profit before tax of 392 million shillings, showing a rise of 113% over 2018. However, the properties business reported a loss before tax of 4.8 billion shillings, representing a decline of 268%.
As we said when we issued our trading update at Q4 of 2019, the property markets across East Africa have been softening, with rental yields declining. It is therefore unsurprising that when we received the valuations done by independent valuers, there was a significant drop in the value of our properties.
Net earned premiums were up 3.8% in 2019. Income contribution outside Kenya increased to 39% from 36% over a 5-year period, in line with the group's strategy to geographically diversify its business. This is despite reduced contribution from South Sudan owing to adverse operating environment. The group's operating expenses were up 9.1%, largely due to a revaluation loss of the owner-occupied investment property portion. The company's board of directors did not recommend the payment of a dividend for the financial year ended 2019. Meanwhile, plans are underway to uplift the local textile industry through upgrading of textile plants dotted across textile producing regions. Trade and Industry CS Betty Maina said the government has put measures to secure and revamp local industries by controlling imports from other countries, especially on commodities that can be manufactured locally even beyond COVID-19.
For products such as this, for textiles, for instance, the common external tariff is actually at 25%. So there's a lot of protection for local industries. And we are taking this to the next level because we have realized the over-reliance on imports means that you're importing small things like this that you can make at home. So we are actually looking to ensure that even within the coming budget and the finance bill, we enhance support to ensure that we have self-sufficiency.
On his part, Githunguri MP Gabriel Kago said it was also important for more youths to be sensitized in order to be included in such government initiatives going forward.
His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, during his last speech, he said that his government, through the Ministry of Trade, of course, is going to recruit 29,000 tailors across, the country. And my humble request is, if we had started earlier before even that proposal was made, why should we forget about these youths who are already saving the lives of Kenyans?
The Githunguri factory makes over 3,000 cloth masks daily, which is distributed to the locals free of charge. Alan Auko, Channel 1 Business.
Moving on, Kenyan businesses recorded a sharp decline in activity for the fourth successive month in April, amid the coronavirus pandemic at a 34.8 down from 37.5 in March. Stanbic Purchasing Managers Index attributes the decline to, among others, a drop in output buoyed by falling demand, input shortages and lockdown restrictions due to COVID-19.
The government has been in a rush against time to stem the spread of the deadly respiratory virus that has claimed the lives of more than 250,000 people worldwide, all the while keeping the economic wheel churning.
We seem to have come to the conclusion as a society that things have gone back to normal. Today's figures show things are far, far from normal.
However, the domino effect of COVID-19 appears to be catching up if the latest figure of the Stanbic Purchasing Managers Index survey are to go by. Last month, output fell sharply as firms were hampered by falling demand, input shortages and lockdown restrictions. Workforces were cut, with businesses also lowering wages in an effort to keep costs subdued as revenues deteriorated. Overall, a PMI index of 34.8 in April, down from 37.5 in March, a fourth successive drop. Readings above 50 signal an improvement in business conditions on the previous month, while readings below 50 show a deterioration. Travel restrictions, lockdowns overseas, especially Europe, led to subdued sale to foreign clients. According to the regional East Africa economist Gibran Qureshi at Stanbic Bank, tourism, agriculture, especially floriculture, is to bear the greatest brunt as governments work on inducing a coma on the global economy until a time when it is safe to flatten the curve. The local supply chain was not spared either, with companies reporting difficulty in obtaining inputs during the month of April, mostly due to weaker supply of items and constraints on vendors amid curfew policies in Nairobi. Delivery times lengthened at a record pace while stock levels were curtailed sharply. Uncertainty on the duration of the pandemic led to a rapid weakening in business expectations for the next 12 months, with sentiment falling to the second lowest in over 3 years. Consequently, firms shredded jobs at the fastest pace in survey history, with wages also reduced amid efforts to lower total costs. Despite lower expectations, Kenyan firms were still positive that the economy would grow over the coming year. Regina Manyaragitao reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And on matters sports, former Togolese international Emmanuel Adebayo insists that the African Footballer of the Year award should only be awarded to players who are based in Africa. Emmanuel, who won the award back in 2018 during his spell at English Premier League side Arsenal, he touted CAF for awarding a Liverpool duo of Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane the past 3 awards. The 36-year-old feels that there is little effort in the recognition of African-based players because no player has won the coveted title since its inception in 1992. Now, Senegalese striker Sadio Mane won the 2019 title after beating Liverpool teammate Mohamed Salah. Mane won the title after 2009 UEFA Champions League title, scoring and his loan spell at Sheffield United, Henderson has enjoyed a magnificent season, keeping 10 clean sheets and earning a call-up to Gareth Southgate's full England squad. With discussions action next month, the Blades are keen to learn if Henderson's year-long loan can be extended beyond June 30th when it runs out. Under the tutelage of Chris Wilder, Sheffield is one of the 4 teams with 10 league games left to play. The fixture against Aston Villa was postponed due to the appearance of the Carabao Cup final. Australia Chief Executive Officer Craig Tiley has expressed fears that the 2020 Australia Open at all due to the coronavirus crisis and has already seen Wimbledon forced to cancel this year for the first time since the Second World War. Now, the Australian Open was able to take place in January as scheduled, but French Open organizers have moved to September from its May start. Is expected to be Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin tonight. Remember to practice social responsibility, maintain hygiene, adhere to government's directives so as to curb the spread of COVID-19. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter this evening was Lensa Odingo. Have a good night.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
The Juakari operators and others, our saloonists, our mamboga, our barbers, our economy to a large extent depends on you. We cannot allow Kenyans to die because of non-distancing in any sector.